Give Dick.
All right, are we ready to start?
Okay, I see we have 3 members here, so we do have a quorum. We'll start the meeting at 6:03. And hopefully we'll have at least one more show up. Okay, so for the start of the meeting, we'll have a pledge of allegiance. Okay, we have the flag on the screen. So pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for the 19 students and two teachers in Uvalde, Texas, from a few weeks ago. Okay, thank you. Mr. Serrano, would you like to give us an overview of the virtual meeting process?
Chair O'Connell, I'd love to. Would you like to do roll call before we go over the virtual meeting process?
Yeah, okay. I skipped that. Okay, Nate, can you make a roll call?
Chief, you're unmuted. I mean, you're muted.
Director O'Connell,
Here.
Director Dodds,
here.
Director Vanris,
Present.
Director Landon,
Here.
and Director Meyer is absent.
Okay. Now, Mr. Serrano, would you like to give us an overview of the meeting process?
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, board members and members of the public. As you are well aware, LAFCO and Branson 45 Protection District are collaborating. And under this collaboration, Branson 40 is utilizing LAFCO's Zoom webinar account. Under this platform, the board and staff have complete control over your webcam and microphones. For the public, their microphones and webcams have been disabled, but they still have the ability to view and hear the entire meeting. Members of the public also have an opportunity to address the board on any agenda item during public comments. They'll have up to 3 minutes. And under this webinar platform, LAFCO will notify members of the public when they have 1 minute left, and we will notify them when their time is up. At that point, their microphones will be muted once again. And as accordance with AB 361, any board action requires a roll call vote under this virtual meeting process. And Chair O'Connell, that concludes a quick summary of the virtual meeting process.
Thank you, Joe. Agenda amendments. Item 2. This is an opportunity for the board to make any necessary amendments to the current agenda, provided that no action may be taken on an off-agenda item unless authorized by law. Chief Lackey, is there
Yes,
any...
Yes, I do have an addition to the agenda. I need to add ratify resolutions 2022-1 regarding the virtual board meetings. We have to do this every board meeting.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on this item? No, so the board needs to vote on this.
Yes.
We'll do that.
I move that we ratify 2022-1 to authorize a virtual board meeting.
Do we have a second?
Pete, you're muted. Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion was made by Director Dodds and seconded by Director Veneris. Can call for a vote, Nate?
Director O'Connell,
Aye.
Director Dodds,
Aye.
Director Vanris,
Aye.
Director Landon,
Aye.
and Director Meyer is absent.
Motion passes by all members present. Oral communications. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board on items not on the agenda, provided that the subject matter is within the jurisdiction of the board and that no action may be taken on an off-agenda item unless authorized by law. Do we have any oral communications, Nate?
We do not.
Chair, I will note that there is a hand raised from the public to address the board on this item.
Okay, let's proceed with that.
All right, Ms. Marilyn, I'm requesting you to unmute yourself.
Thank you. I just want to send out a big shout out of thanks to Chief Lackey, Captain Mario Perez, and the volunteers who attended and spoke at our Happy Valley Firewise community meeting. It was really appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marilyn. Is there any other public?
Chair, I do not see any other hands raised at this time.
Okay. So we'll move on to the consent calendar. And so the consent calendar items will be enacted upon by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on items unless a board member, staff, or member of the public requests removal of the item on the board. There are two items to vote on. First is 4.1. The approval of the board minutes for May 19th, 2020. We have a motion to approve the board minutes. Or
Are we going to do
is there
both
any
together?
discussion?
Okay.
Yeah,
We're going to do everything in one motion. Is there any discussion on the board minutes? Is that what I heard?
that's what I was asking, if there was
Sure,
any
okay.
discussion on the board minutes. No discussion on the
nothing.
board minutes? Okay. 4.2, approve Brent's 40 Fire Protection District claims disbursements for the month of May. Month of May 1st, 2022 through May 31st, 2022, in the amount of payroll and benefits, $42,560.15. General fund, $32,000, $522.71. Measure T, $25,830.27, for a total of $100,913.13. We have a motion or discussion. We have a discussion on any of the consent calendar items.
There's no discussion. I'll make a
Yeah.
motion to pass consent calendar.
Okay. Motion made by Director Veneris. Do we have a second?
Dr. Dodds will second.
So we have a motion by Director Veneris, seconded by Director Dodds. Nate, can you ask for a vote?
Yes, let's vote. Director O'Connell,
Aye.
Director Dodds,
Aye.
Director Van Ness,
Aye.
Director Landon,
Aye.
and Director Meyer is absent.
So the measure passes with all members present voting aye. Okay, action items. Action items may require board action regarding the district's policy, operations, or other business matters. Members of the public may provide comments after staff presentations, but before board actions. So Chief Lackey, the first item here is adopt resolution 2022-4, the preliminary budgets.
That is correct. So you got, all the members should have a copy of the preliminary budget for 2023. And that's the general fund, as well as the Measure T fund for 2023. I made a budget highlight for the directors to review. And again, this is the preliminary budget. We will be in August approving the final budget. So are there any questions regarding the budget?
Could you talk about fixed assets like the buildings and the mobile equipment? What are you predicting it's going to be spent? $592,000.
So I kept in the mobile equipment, I kept $400,000 in there in case that Scotts Valley or we decide to purchase a Type 6. Not necessarily planning on it, but if it does come up that we need to, there's 400,000 in there, and then also some money in there for a chief vehicle for myself. As far as the account with the buildings, I added $75,000 in there for the repairs to the damaged building and to pay for the rest of the drawings and engineering for that as well.
So the engineering is still proceeding?
I heard from the contractor late last week that the engineering should be done and the plan should be at the county hopefully this week.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any other board discussion? Do we have any public comments on a board preliminary budget? No public comments, no more board discussion. If there's no more board
Not at this time.
discussion, then okay.
Then I'll make a
Can you
motion
ask
to
for a
adopt
vote?
resolution 2022-4, preliminary budget.
Director Veneris made a motion. Do we have a second?
Dr. Dodds will second.
Motion made by Director Veneris, seconded by Director Dodds. Nate, can you take a vote?
I can. Director O'Connell,
Aye.
Director Dodds,
Aye.
Director Van Ness,
Aye.
Director Landon,
Aye.
and Director Meyer is absent.
Copies. The motion passes with all members present.
Before we move on, I will need Director Dodds to, if available, come down to the station tomorrow and sign the resolution since Director O'Connell is out of the area.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, it looks like we have a public hearing for the adopted budget of August 18th, 2023.
Correct.
A regular board meeting at 6 p.m.
Correct.
So direct staff to publish a hearing notice and make budget available to public review. So is that on the internet yet?
It will be soon, now that you've approved it.
All right, thank you. Okay, item 5.2. Consider audit proposals from PNPCPA for audit for the year ended June 30th, 2022. Is there any question from the public on this item?
So this is the annual audit that we're required to do by the state. This is the same company we've used the last several years, and a number of the other agencies in the county use this company as well. And they're fairly inexpensive and do a good job, and they're easy to work with. So
That's what I was going to ask. Thanks. Any other discussion, further discussion on this item? Okay, do we have a motion to approve 5.2?
I'll move that we adopt measure 5.2, the audit proposal from PNPCPA.
I'll second that
Have a
motion.
sec- okay. Motion made by Director Veneris or Director Dodds and seconded by Director Veneris. Can you take a vote, Nate?
So we'll, Director O'Connell,
Aye.
Director Dodds,
Aye.
Director Vanris,
Aye.
Director Landon,
Aye.
and Director Meyer is absent.
Okay, motion to accept the proposal has passed by all members present. 5.3, which is a request from Brent's 40 Career Fire Officers Association requesting the beginning of negotiations. Nate, can you give us a presentation?
Yes, this is a letter from the two captains requesting negotiations. Their 3-year contract expires January 1st. So I think everybody's wanting to start this process early, so we don't run into an issue with not working without a contract. I believe you will have to set up a committee.
Yes, no, I will be writing a letter to the two gentlemen, Nick and, so that we can get this moving. We'll have 2 board members assigned to the task.
Okay.
And so we can outline what we expect to hear from the association in that note. Any further discussion on this? Any questions from the public? Any comments from the board? Okay. We can move forward to 5.4. Approve the surplus of 2 vehicles, 2002 Ford F-150 and 2020 Chevy Equinox, and approve the purchase of a new used vehicle. Nate.
So in my highlights for the Measure T fund, I outlined the reasoning I would like to sell the Equinox and the surplus the truck, and you know, as I stated in the letter, the last chief was really unable to respond to calls, and it worked fine for her. Now I will be responding to calls. I will need a vehicle with more ground clearance and able to haul some equipment around. I will also need to be, we will be putting in place a duty coverage from the captains. They've agreed to help out and at least give me a couple days off here and there and they'll do the coverage. And we will be using the other pickup for that as well as utility. I believe I said what we could get for the Equinox was between $25,000 and $27,500 for the Equinox. I have a couple of people already interested in it without even saying it was for sale yet. So, and that's what I would like to do.
And what do you expect to pay for a new pickup?
Between 50 and 55,000. I've been looking, and that's about what we can find. It's a used vehicle. As we all know, there's no new vehicles out there. So I will be trying to find the cheapest available. I'm not looking to go for the top of the line.
Okay, do we have public comment on this?
I have
particular
a
item?
comment for you, Chief. Does Scotts Valley have
We
a
have
4x4 for similar use? Just curious.
Excuse me? I'm sorry.
Does Scotts Valley have a similar 4x4 in their arsenal or apparatus arsenal, or
Yes.
just curious what they have?
Yes, all the other agencies actually have four-wheel drive vehicles, trucks.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, makes sense for the rural areas that you got to get to.
Okay, so we'll have public comment and then a board discussion. Has there been any public comment or written comment regarding this issue?
No written comment has been submitted, Chief or Chair.
Thank you. Okay, as far as a board discussion, do we have any other discussion or anybody else wanting to discuss this item?
Just to refresh my memory, what is there's one other vehicle in play, is that correct? Another pickup?
yes, that is the 2002 F-150 that has a cracked cylinder head that I'd like to surplus.
So right now, is there a second pickup? Or
Yes,
no?
there's two pickups.
Well, my
Okay.
reservations on this, the expenditure of funds at this point has not gone away. Just at this point in our tenuous situation, I'm reluctant to spend money where we may be able to find alternatives. So my position hasn't really changed on that. So that would be my comment at this point.
Okay, I'm in the same category as what you're discussing now, is that we're in a situation where we're trying to make sure that we have money to pay for firefighters, and that comes first. And the reason that the previous chief wasn't able to go to calls was that a radio and lights didn't get put on it, which should have happened but didn't. It's a paid for vehicle. We already have it. If it had lights, it would suffice to do the kind of things that the chief in this district needs to do. We still have the additional pickup to haul equipment, but there is room in the back of that vehicle to put a couple rolls of hose and a couple of SCBA's if need be. The back seats turn up. It's a smaller SUV, but it's still an SUV. It's good gas mileage and is pretty much brand new. So I think that we have a unit that for a lot less money would be functional and could work without having to put any additional expense out.
My input on that is I would agree with some of that, but if we have a heavy winter season, you're going to want a 4x4. I think it's a good idea to go move forward with this.
This has all track, I believe. It's a light vehicle, yes, and I bet it can get up most of the area in the district. And again, I do think it's functions. It made sense when Chief Sweden purchased the vehicle. It still makes sense now. It makes sense to put some lights on it and a radio. It makes sense now to use it.
Chief, could you, so the lights and the radio are going to have to be purchased and installed regardless of what vehicle, correct?
Correct.
It's correct.
So what is the expense for that? So we're
That'll
already
be-
talking an increased expense on whatever we have now or whatever we would consider buying. How much is that increase?
It'll
Much is
probably be
that
around $4,000.
Okay. You have any further thoughts, Tim?
Not at this time.
I had a comment.
Okay, Dick.
I'm trying to dice this a little bit. Nate, I'd like to hear what Nate has to say back at what you guys just said, but is it the situation that's imperative that Nate carry around equipment, but he can't do it in the SUV, and the SUV ground clearance may be limited? I guess, Pat, you said it wasn't, and it's all track. So what we're down to now is Nate. It seems to me that Nate would have to make the case. And as Director Dotson says, we're in tenuous times here. But if Nate can make the case where he needs to have one vehicle that'll transport that equipment, extra equipment, that the SUV won't handle. Is that the case, Nate?
Yes, I don't really feel comfortable throwing a lot of dirty hose and dirty barricades in the back of a nice SUV. And also the ground clearance for me is the bigger issue. Not the all track might be great, but if I have to go off road somewhere, I don't really want to damage the vehicle with low clearance and stuff like that. So that's my concern.
I agree. I think if you can get a good price for the Equinox, and get a good price on another used 4x4 with ground clearance, and I agree. I think that expense isn't too extreme at this point. We have to be functional. That's my comment. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay, Nate, can you have it? Let's have a vote.
All right, Director O'Connell.
Do we want to make a motion to approve the surplus?
Got to do that.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the surplus of 2 vehicles and purchase a newer used cheap vehicle.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, now can we have a vote?
Director O'Connell,
Nay.
Director Dodds,
Aye.
Vanrus,
Aye.
Director Landon,
Aye.
and Director Meyer is absent.
Okay, so a motion was made and voted on, and 3 members voted to the affirmative, so the motion passes. Right, other business. So this is information or discussion. Other business items involve administrative, budgetary, legislative, or personnel matters and may or may not be subject to board action. So item 6.1 is Fire Chief's operational update. Okay, Nate.
Right, as I spoke earlier, the engineering should be done for the damaged apparatus bay. I will check in with the contractor next week and see how far along we are on that. The kitchen remodel, I spoke with the contractor and told him, you know, once all the plans and everything are done, we're gonna put that on hold for now. That was your direction at the last board meeting, I believe. The website has come along really well. I met with Dora the other day. Just had a few things that we had to kind of do to make it work a little better for us. So she's moving along on that. 2636 went to the body shop last week, or I'm sorry, on Monday. Should be done next week, the end of next week. We found a local place versus taking it to a place in Modesto and saved us about $10,000 or $12,000. So, and then Captain Perez has been signed off to be an engine boss. So which that will allow him to take the engine out on strike teams with driver and 2 firefighters. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Chief and Chair O'Connell, I believe we're on 6.1, but there was still 5.5, which was the review and approve a policy. I just want to make sure if that's still on the agenda.
Yes, that's still on the agenda. Thank you.
Okay, let's go back to 5.5. Review and approve policy 2001, Board of Directors roles and responsibilities. Nate, you have a comment on this?
Yes, this is an actual policy that we approved earlier in the year. We received some feedback from the district council to change a few things. I've updated what they sent us and put it into the format of our policies. So I believe you all have a copy of the policy in front of you, or some should have it. Any questions regarding that policy?
Do we have any public comment? Any further discussion by the board?
I'll make a motion to approve policy 2101.
Motion by Pete Veneris. We have a second.
Dr.
Yeah,
Dodd seconds.
Oh, go ahead.
So we have a motion by Pete, and it sounds like we had two people making a second, but I heard Director Landon first. So let's go ahead and have a vote.
Director O'Connell,
Aye.
Director Dodds,
Aye.
Director Vanrus,
Aye.
Director Landon,
Aye.
and Director Meyer is absent.
Thank you. So back to 6.1. So you have given your update. Was there any public comment or comments from the board? No action required on this item. So if there's no further comments, we'll move on to 6.2. And that is receive status update on the reorganization effort between Brentwood Ford and Scotts Valley Protection District. Can you give us an update, Nate?
Yes, we haven't met with the ad hoc committee since our last board meeting. We are looking at scheduling one for early next month, I believe. And we should have more of an update at our next board meeting. We have met with the committee, the ad hoc committee with the resident ad hoc committee, and had some good discussions there, and looking to meet with Scotts Valley and continue the discussion.
So just to clarify, it's the Resident Advisory Committee,
Thank you.
not a ad hoc committee. We've gone through that. So is there any comments from the public or comments in writing about this particular item? Do we have any further discussion from the board?
I have a comment or a question about the benefit assessment. That's supposed to start in July, or has someone already been approved to go ahead with that? Where are we at with that?
So the deadline to receive our RFPs is July 1st. As of now, we have not received any. I believe it's typical that they usually send them in the last week.
Okay.
So,
And then any guesstimated time frame it'll take? I don't recall if that was discussed, probably in April, maybe.
yeah, I don't know how long it takes.
All right, that's all comments I have on that.
The Board of the Directors reports.
Oh, yeah, I had a comment
Go ahead.
and a question. Can somebody please clarify for everybody the difference between those two ad hoc committees? Or you're calling one an ad hoc and one a residential? Can you define their responsibilities and roles again for everybody?
So basically, an ad hoc committee is members of the board. And in this particular case, it's 2 members of the board. And the fire chief representing Brentwood 40 Fire at the meetings between the 2 districts. The committee is an advisory committee appointed by the board. And it's for the purposes of getting public comment and some discussion of what items that we've been working on and have to continue to work on as far as preparing for educational meetings that we foresee in the future. That committee is made up of mostly community members, plus no more than 2 board members. And so that's the difference between that committee and an ad hoc committee, is also how it's handled. So it's basically 2 different things. And there are some things that that both committees are assigned and used for. Does that answer your question, Dick?
Well, are there going to be any minutes from either one of those committees?
We've gotten some information from our legal counsel that in the future there will be some minutes. Or that will be submitted from the Citizens Committee. The ad hoc committee is not putting out minutes at this point in time.
So just to clarify, the Citizens Committee, we're coming in up to a merger here. So just to clarify, the Citizens Committee, is the ad hoc committee using the Citizens Committee's input when they go and have their meeting with the merger talks?
Yes, that's why we had a meeting between Chief Lackey and Mr. Serrano and all the folks that are involved in the committee right now. So we had a very productive meeting, and a lot of the information that had been collected previous by the Citizens Advisory Committee has been used in our discussions together and will be used in the future. Mr. Serrano, would you like to comment on this further as far as LAFCO?
Thank you, Chair. Joe Serrano from LAFCO. So I echo what Chief O'Connell mentioned. The Joint Ad Hoc Committee is representatives from both districts. So it's the boards and their fire chiefs respectfully. And that's their task, is to really develop the information needed to make this reorganization happen. So they're actually doing the heavy lifting. When it comes to the committee advisory, the resident advisory committee that was formed by this board is simply to get input from the residents and really hear from them. What are their concerns about the reorganization? What's their issues? Is it response time? Is it the insurance coverage? Is it the level of service? Are there misconceptions? That task of that committee is simply to provide the community's issues with the reorganization. So they are providing feedback to the Branson 40 Fire Protection District, and then in hand, Branson 40 Fire can really help craft the description of the reorganization. And so as the two districts move forward with this merger and answering those questions from the residents, there's synergy between the two. But it's important to note that the Joint Ad Hoc Committee with representatives from both districts are the ones doing the work. The Resident Advisory Committee is not doing any of the district work. They're just providing input as we move forward. So those are the distinctions between the two. As far as minutes, the last time the board had this discussion, LAFCO has taken initiative to take minutes for the Resident Advisory Committee, and we will begin crafting minutes for the Joint Ad Hoc Committee. That way there's more transparency from both sides, and those will be provided to the district as we move forward. And that's all the comments I have, Chair O'Connell.
Thank you, Joe. That clarifies things pretty well. You have any further questions, Dick?
Oh, no. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, so back to the board directors and staff reports. As far as the board directors report, there's a lot of continuing activity going on. There's progress on a lot of items. Things are running well. There are some concerns that about information on the web pages not coming out really soon enough or early enough. It's just minor stuff like our next meeting should be posted. While there is a list of meetings, I mean, there's a place on that page where we can highlight upcoming things, and it should be updated more often. So anyway, again, there's more work that can be done on the board, on the webpage, and I'm glad to hear that it's being worked on. Still would like to see the sign up in the front of the building, in front of the station. Nate, what's the status of the board that was ordered?
We're still waiting for it. They, just like everything else in the country, it's taking a little longer.
I really think the suggestion of bringing the board that's painted with the white paint so you can put signs by hand up there
Okay,
was made and should have been done last month.
okay.
Any other comments from the board of directors? Okay, we'll move on to staff reports. Nate, it's all yours.
You should have the reports in front of you. Our calls, participation drills. Any questions on those? All right.
See that a lot of station was covered really well. So the volunteer, temporary volunteer program does seem to be working. There seems to be a lot of volunteers at the station most days. And it looks like there was definitely at least 2 all of the time, and more likely 3 being able to respond. I've seen a couple of times the engines passing by me going on calls, and they looked like there was 3 people in them. And so that was a good thing. Anyway, that. Any other comments on the staff reports as far as calls and engine?
No, I
Any
just
other comments?
echo your comments, Pat. It's really good to see that the staffing has been able to increase and be maintained right now. Good job, Chief.
Thank you. So it's the volunteers are really stepping up, so they're doing a good job. Really
Good, good.
happy.
It's nice to see a lot of activity around the station. I've heard people comment on that from the district.
Good.
So good to see. So we'll move on to correspondence. 8.1. So this is if staff receives written correspondence and other materials on occasion that may or may not be related to a specific agenda item. Any correspondence presented to the board will also be made available to the general public. Any written correspondence distributed to the board less than 20 or 72 hours prior to the meeting will be made available for inspection at the hearing and posted on the district's website. There was a letter from Becky Steinbrunner, and it was in our board packet. Nate, you want to discuss that?
It was not in your board packet?
No, it was.
Oh,
So do
okay.
you want to address?
This is actually a letter we received shortly after the, I believe, April board meeting that I've neglected to put into the board packet last month. So I've put it in for this month for the board to review.
So this was an item that Becky discussed, and is she on this meeting today? Just want to make sure if she had any further comments. Okay, apparently she's not
Probably
here
for
today.
Joe to figure out. She's always called in. So it's kind of hard for us to see.
Well, I don't believe she's put up her hand. Okay. Move on to good of the order.
Oh, I do have a comment on it. There was an attachment. I know Dick had requested or asked about like a business proposal or something for the pilot program. So there is an attachment, I believe, on that. That was she did mention Jared Childress, or I forget his last name. He had written up a pilot proposal of what the wildland firefighter and the Good Fire Hub would look like. So if anyone's interested in that, I think there's attachment on that, or you can find it somewhere if you're interested in that.
Okay. Further
I
discussion?
had a comment. Maybe Chief Lackey. I heard he got kudos at the beginning of the meeting here for a meeting someplace. Was that discussing this possible hand crews and fire hub stuff?
No, that was regarding a Firewise group on Happy Valley Road.
Hey,
Okay.
Nate, can you talk a little bit more about that? What that meeting was about, or what your
The
participation was in?
the Firewise?
Yeah.
Yes, we were invited up to the Land Conservancy at the end of Happy Valley Road. They've been working on some places for people to refuge in case of a large fire and they can't get out of the Happy Valley Road area. We talked about home hardening and just a number of things that with regard to the Firewise group. We were able to answer a lot of questions that people had, and let them know that if they have questions about anything with their home hardening or preparing their home for wildland season, to give us a call, and we'd be more than happy to come up and give them some help and advice and that kind of thing. We also had the ham operator group with the MERS radios up there to do a little spiel about the ham radios, and that was a great thing too. There's a number of people up there that have the radios already, and in the Happy Valley Road area as well. So
I was driving up that way the other day. I see a lot more road signs up there, or
Oh,
address
yeah.
signs.
yeah,
That's kind of a good thing too. Well, it's not. It is a good thing.
yeah. I think we've
I
got
think
about 20 of them. So, and a request for even more. So.
Well, I think participating in these meetings is an important thing, and thank you and Mario for doing that. I think it's important for us to also let the public know what the fire district and the Firewise groups can do together. So this is good information.
Well, on top of that, I'd just like to let the board know that we do have another Firewise starting up on Lionsfield Road. They're in the very starting phases, but I believe Mario's already gone up there and walked through with them, and they're helping. He's helping them get along with it. So
Linesfield, that's a good area to spend the attention to.
yeah.
So still, I think in the future, it would be nice to have, when we get to the educational part of what we can talk about in our district, is to have a meeting with all of the district, or all of the Firewise groups meeting together. So thank you. Okay, any other comments? For good of the order, any comments? Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn this meeting with our next scheduled meeting, July 21st, 2022.
Do we have a second?
Dick, it's you or I.
You.
Director Dodd seconds.
Okay, motion made by Director Veneris and seconded by Director Dodds. Vote Nate,
All right. Director O'Connell,
aye.
Director Dodds,
Aye.
Director Vanrus,
Aye.
Director Landon.
Goodbye and good night.
Thank all you
and
guys.
Director Meyer is absent.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you,
We're
everyone.
adjourned at 6:58.
Have a great evening, guys.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank-
Chief.
Bye,
Thanks,
Chief.
Chair.
You too.
Good job, Pat. That was good.
Thanks. How many people are attending these meetings these days?
At one point, we had up to 6 members of the public.
Okay.